Perfect, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting for December 18th, 2023. Call the meeting to order and ask for an adoption of the agenda, please. Councilor McLean,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the agenda as amended to accommodate action item 7.1, 2024 capital budget prior to action item 6.1 proposed fee bylaw 20-2023.
all right, thank you. Just to reverse those two items, all right? Very well. Amended motion on the table, all in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. Oh, just for the record, Councilor Sorensen is unable to attend today's meeting as well. All right, moving on to item 3, public hearings. There are none. Item 4, adoption minutes. Item 4.1, minutes of special meeting of council November 16th, 2023. Mr. Tebow.
The special meeting minutes are in front of council for your consideration. Yes, I'm a bit froggy today.
All right, I can relate. All right, item 4.1, any questions arising? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the special meeting of council held on November 16th, 2023 as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 4.2, minutes of regular meeting of council November 27th, 2023. Mr. Tebow.
Regular meeting minutes in front of you and for your consideration again.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? None whatsoever. Someone prepared to make a motion? Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on November 27th, 2023 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5, business arising. There are none. Action items. Action 7.1, 2024 capital budget, please. Mr. Tebow.
We'll get Mr. Orwa to come up and speak to the capital budget. There is a couple of adjustments that he'll speak to you about.
All right, thank you. Mr. Orwa.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of council. To start, before I even get into the capital, I just wanted to always start with some good news sometimes to make everybody smile. Now, so on capital, finally, we received a letter from Municipal Affairs. I remember they've been struggling to give us the methodology they're using for the new framework that they're using to move away from MSI. So we just received a letter from Municipal Affairs, and finally they have given us new allocation. And for the town of Taber, we are going to receive 1.23 million. That is up from 851, which is about 382,000 more that we're going to receive. So that is good news. Now, the funding methodology is very different this time. So what they have done here, they first of all picked the two big cities, that is Calgary and Edmonton. And they're going to have 48% based on population for those two cities, and then another 48% based on education property tax requisitions, and then 4% based on local roads, which has never happened before, the length of the roads, 4%. Now then other municipalities, apart from those two, where Taber is now a member, the capital funding, they'll have 65% based on population, and then 15% is based on tangible capital assets. And if you look at our financial statements, our tangible capital assets from the audited financial statements of last year, we are sitting at about 143 million. So based on that, other municipalities also come into play. So 15% of that, and then 10% is based on the amortization of capital assets. That was interesting. And then another 10% is based on the length of roads. So you can see in their new methodology, they have brought in the length of roads, they have brought in tangible capital assets to give them the framework how to fund municipalities. So based on that, we are getting, at least we are happy to get 1.23 million. So we'll be getting at least 382,000 more than we expected. So maybe in the future, we will be bringing the capital listing again to rearrange the funding or may add some additional projects. So that is good news. The second part, again, you might be wondering why are we bringing up back before you again, yet you had already approved the capital budget. I think there's just one change that the administration made, and that change will impact different areas that had to be, brought back to council for resolutions. Maybe before I do that, I would like to yield my time to Mr. Egan just to explain to you a little bit that change, then probably I'll pick it from there to explain the impact.
All right, thank you. Mr. Egan.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. In the 2024, proposed 2024 capital budget, a project existed to replace 2 blocks of cast iron water pipe and also sanitary pipe that in the south end of town. As when we received approval to proceed with that project, the first thing that we did was go and use the vac truck and dig some holes and verify. We were trying to verify location, exact sizes, some things like that. The original project was configured using the as-built information we had on hand, and it turns out that that wasn't correct. Sometime in the last 15 years, one of the 2 proposed blocks had the upgrade work take place. So as a consequence, because the approval from council is specific to 45th Avenue, we're proposing to take that project and relocate it to 2 similar blocks on 41st Avenue, which has the same issues and would come up in rotation in the year. So we'll just push the idea is we'll push the single block of 45th Avenue that remains into a future year capital budget. This would allow, and Mr. Oro can explain the specifics, the finances around both the approval, the long-term borrowing requirements, which would be the same for the new proposed location. So to remain similar and to accomplish the same volume of work, we're proposing this administrative change and location change.
All right, thank you, Mr. Egan. Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there's a rotation that you spoke of. So every year there's proposed replacements of these old cast iron. So we're just moving everything up a year? Is that what's happening?
We're just shifting
Just
to
this
2
one.
blocks. It wasn't that complicated. We just had 2 blocks approved.
Okay,
We wanted to do 2 blocks as a proposed different location.
okay,
And you can see that one of the alternatives, I think, is we could retain the current location of the project, but we would just do half of the physical work.
okay. So,
And the condition of the lines were well past replacement timelines in all of those areas south of the highway. And so we would propose to continue with the same volume of work with the approved project and just shift the location.
so the ones that are proposed for the future years will stay
Yes.
as is unless something changes between now and then?
Yeah, we'll pull, every year we revisit the theoretical model that's we've got in place for proposed upgrades. And we incorporate issues like the calls that we received of the year, if there have been any failures or problems with, in this case, water quality, because we're talking about the potable water delivery system, and then any issues with the sanitary system. We also will be upgrading because of we'll upgrade the roads and do any sidewalk work and other related work because we'll have a fairly big trench open in those locations. But mostly it's focused on those 2 sets of pipes that are well past their life expectancy. Both will be replaced by PVC pipes, which has a 100-year life expectancy. So,
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through Mr. Egan. I have 2 questions. First one, do you envision the same cost when you have 2 different projects, even though they're close together, but there's 2 mobilizations involved? And I envision perhaps an increase in cost, or do you not envision that at all?
because it's, the original project was 2 blocks of 45th, and what we're proposing is 2 blocks of 41st, we're thinking that it's should be about the same. It certainly should be within the contingency tolerances that we had in the original project. There is some difference in length of the 41st Avenue, but we're hopeful at this point in time. We wouldn't change our estimate based on that condition. So we're hoping we can do it for the same money.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Second question.
absolutely, you
If
bet.
I may, thank you. Why wouldn't somebody have checked the mapping before you did what you did?
So it was actually the as-built drawings, which are maps, contained the information we used that indicated that the ductile iron pipe was still in the ground on 45th.
Wow.
And so it depends on the accuracy and of the administration in years gone by, how well the as-built drawings transferred from contractors or why that work was done that makes it into our particular drawing sets that we have. So generally they're pretty accurate and pretty correct. We have a very good crew of people that have long memories, and we run our drawing sets by them as we configure projects. But occasionally you'll find these types of things will slip through where work was done but not our information database wasn't upgraded.
All right, absolutely, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Egan? Councilor Rufford?
So I'm willing to make that motion. So I'll make a motion that the council rescinds resolution 35/2023.
All right, we do have a motion on the table. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you.
I guess I can go with the next motion.
You can, if you like,
Yeah?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that council approves the 2024 capital budget with the 45th Avenue cast iron and sanitary replacement project amended to be the 41st Avenue, 51st Street to 53rd Street cast iron and sanitary replacement project.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. All right, on to item 6.1, proposed fee bylaw 2023. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Orwell will stand up for this one and give the explanations.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. I don't have to explain anything there. I thought I would do other explanation, but that is very good. Thank you very much. Now, moving forward, remember I was saying once you change something, there will be impact everywhere. So the first impact is what you are seeing in the fee bylaw. Because the fee bylaw captures project specific. And for it to be project specific, again, there's a long-term borrowing attached to this particular project. And when we go for long-term borrowing, we have to advertise for 2 weeks. And again, the advertisement has to be project specific. I couldn't advertise with the old one. We advertise with the new one. So it has affected all those areas. Again, the same, we'll also look at the utility template that is being used when we are sending out the invoicing. It has also be very project specific. So it has affected those areas. That's why you see, if you could pull the fee bylaw, page 22, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about if you go to the attachment. Because that is the only change in the current fee bylaw, page 22. You're getting there, right there. So thank you very much. So that is exactly, so we take out the 45th, we are now putting the 41st, so we'll now be using that description to apply for the debenture. And again, that is the only change that we have in that fee bylaw. The other change that we have in this fee bylaw before you pass the motion is on the secondary clarifier. And I think that one again is another good news. Today I had two good news here to spread. The good news here is when we originally brought this one to council, we were supposed to borrow 3 million. So if you recall our bylaw, we said we are going to borrow up to 3 million. But in the process, you know, the administration has been doing their due diligence and looking for grants everywhere. The whole idea behind grants is to give the taxpayers relief to reduce the taxes or any other charges that goes to them. So this is one area where you're going to see a big relief. So in the process, administration, we managed to secure another grant, almost over 800,000, from the what do you call it? AMWWP, that is the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater. So because we have that grant, had to reduce the amount to be borrowed. So we end up borrowing only about 2.1 million. And remember, in the fee bylaw, we had started collecting money for the infrastructure fee. Because now I have that money, taxpayers must get at least relief in 2024. So there'll be nothing. That is why in the current fee bylaw, it's a gone case. So those are the only two changes that we have in the fee bylaw.
All right, any questions arising? Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a clarification, so then the secondary clarifier will be reapplied 2024? Or 25, that's what I meant,
So
sorry.
that
yes.
is correct. So in 2025, we'll bring it back as part of the fee bylaw to continue.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Roy? Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No more questions, but prepared to make the motion. First
Very well.
motion. Thank you. I move that council gives first reading to fee bylaw 20-2023 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prepared to make the second motion that council give second reading to fee bylaw 20-2023 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. So I'm prepared to make the third required motion. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council unanimously agrees to proceed with the third and final reading of fee bylaw 20-23 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Slight delay. That's okay. We're all good. All right, thank you. All right. All right, Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council gives third and final reading to fee bylaw 20-2023 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 7.2, 2024 proposed operating budget. Mr. Tebow.
Again, we'll have Mr. Orwa stay in front of you and give us the goods on this one.
All right, thank you, Mr. Orwa.
Thank you very much again. So before you is our 2024 operating budget. That should be effective from January 1 of 2024. Now, outside what council had seen previously, there are just a few areas which I highlighted in the background of the RFD. The first one, of course, finally the management settled on something with the administration, with the CEO, and the percentage I quoted out there. The other big thing that is worth talking about is Mr. Egan looks like secured some additional revenue for us from Lantic, and that is for the non-hazardous sugar beet soil disposal. And then apart from that one, the other thing worth mentioning there is on professional economic development resources, the one that we are sharing with the MD, that happens to be the same contracted company that is also helping us with grants. So we are getting some reduction in what we are paying them originally in order to meet the additional 60 grand that was increased from the 50 originally agreed by council between the two council members. So those are the slight changes that we've made in that budget. And then finally, you can see we have I'm only about 600,000 coming out of stabilization fund to stabilize the budget. And again, one thing that I would like to mention as well is for now, we've projected a tax rate of 4.75%. It is tax rate, not mill rate. What that means is we are only year over year revenue increase is 4.5%. Now, in the coming year, in April, we will bring this budget back because that is the time we'll be having the assessment and everything will be in place. Then we'll try to look and see exactly whether our projection was accurate or we need to reduce it or it needs to be revised. What I'm talking about here is, remember, if you increase the assessment, we'll collect more revenue for sure. But if the assessment decreases, of course, we'll have to increase the mill rates to collect the same. Now, this is the good news. I've been working with the assessor behind the scenes here to see what is happening out there. And normally I look at municipalities around our size. And what I'm seeing out there looks like we'll be having some good news in 2024. Because one of the municipalities out there, no naming of names, we are seeing, of course, an increase in assessment of about 9.9%. So what I'm seeing based on that, that looks very strong, but Tabor might come a little softer. What that means is we might end up maintaining our 7% like last year, or it might be between 7 to 8%. He was not very sure. But what that means is if that is a true statement, then when we bring back this budget in 2024, definitely we might end up where we were last year without interfering with the mill rates, or a slight increase, or maybe something different from what we are seeing today. Now, the other question that I know I was asked last time, probably I did not address, which I might now a little bit address it, because now when I start seeing numbers like that, Tabor might come a little softer on the side of assessment, with 7 to 8% on residential and about 5% on non-residential. So what that tells me is I decided to plug the numbers based on the 2023 assessment to see what that would look like. And I did pick some properties to see what it is, comparing with some of the municipalities that I'm talking about. Then I think I was very close. So if, for example, you pick, I think I did a 300,000 property, worth of property in Tabor. What would that look like if we maintain the same, everything the same as we move along? And I see a slight increase, tax that will be paid by those by about between $4 to $6. Now I compare that with some of the municipalities that have already completed the assessment. We are not far from there. I'm seeing also the same value of property elsewhere. I see an increase of about $3 per month. So what that tells me, if the assessment comes very strong, we might also see a decrease. They might also get some relief. But I don't want to speculate yet until I see the assessment. I think I'll leave it at that point and see if we can have some questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rowe. We love good news stories. All right, thank you. Councilor Beckery.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Orwa. Did you incorporate the $360,000 from Atlantic in the present budget? Is that incorporated in your budget?
Yes, I did.
It is.
That's
So
incorporated.
you're still looking at 4.75% increase in the budget.
That is correct. So
So I noticed your stabilization fund is only $600,000. Last year was 1.6 or something. Why don't you just raise that stabilization fund up a couple $100,000 and let's go from there? Have you considered that, sir? Because you see the assessment side, and I agree with you, the assessment increases revenue. You might not increase the mill rate, but the people still pay more money because their value of the property is higher. So it makes no difference. Do you know what I'm getting at?
I know
If my house is worth $350,000 next year as opposed to $325,000, and my mill rate doesn't change, I'm paying more money because my house is worth more. So therefore, there's no big deal. It's not a big break.
That is a correct statement. And that is why I said very clearly that once we look at the assessment, the way they'll come through, that particular area will definitely be revised in April, in the spring. so that moving forward we'll have a complete budget that at least will be agreeable by everybody. Because right now, this is just a projection. Because we need some kind of budget or interim budget or whatever to operate in the following year. And that question, definitely, I will even address it further in April.
All right, thank you. Councillor Berry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Orr. I expected that kind of an answer from you, actually, so I'm not surprised. Just for the benefit of all council members, you know, we have to question budgets because it's the most important job that we have as council, I believe. And I think Mr. Orr has done a tremendous job trying to make it as reasonable as possible, but he's not quite reasonable enough in my mind. So the stabilization fund, that really bugs me because I think we get money there to work with that. But I do know also that this is just an interim budget, although we don't use the word interim anymore, but that's what it was called before. But it's a budget as required by the MGA, right? And we can change it in April when we get the true assessments and the school requisition taxes and things like that. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
Thank you.
And one last thing that I would also want to mention, if you look at the motion coming up, I added another motion whereby I don't say council to approve, but I say council endorses. The reason is MGA requires us to balance the current budget and then make projections for the next 3 years. So the next 3 years projection would show some deficits, at least to put in council's mind how we're planning to reduce those deficits. That's why you see the language I've used there is endorse, not approve. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Orwell. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Councillor Beckering, and I guess my little point is I think that our salaries, wages, and benefits is too high compared to our net taxes. And I would like council's input as to what if they feel that as well. I think that number needs to be reduced. And anyways, that's my opinion.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? I guess I can maybe elaborate a little bit for Councilor McLean. For Councilor McLean, sorry. If as far as the wages go, I think that's well, we can't really change that at this stage with QP agreements, contracts, et cetera, right? So I know where you're coming from, and that's always a question or concern. But Mr. Tebow, maybe I'll direct this back to you just for some input related to that, if you would, please.
So I would suggest, obviously, that having any type of discussion that you want, but probably right now is not the time to address that. But in the April budget, if council decided that they wanted to see some adjustment in the salaries, council is free to bring forward something of a service level reduction or a staffing reduction or a number that they would like to see a reduction on, and administration can go away and work on that. But without any kind of direction, I don't, I think administration is doing what we need to do to provide what we provide. So that's kind of where I'll leave it, I guess.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tebow. Yeah, I would agree. Part of that is definitely very accurate, and well, actually, most of it is accurate. To say that consistently, and thank you, Mr. Roth, for your many efforts and your team's efforts. It does very much help us understand where we are coming from, what we're facing. But the numbers that are in place are as a result of what's projected, correct, as far as contracts, et cetera, in all areas. Councilor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a tendency to agree with Councilor McLean, because if council would recall that last year we did a bit of a study, I guess you could call it, between different municipalities of our size regarding salary, wages, and benefits as opposed to net taxes, and we were way out of line with other communities, if I think council would recall that. And my comment to all this is that I will never question the amount people get paid, never. But I will question the number of people that get paid. So that's what we have to address, I think, and we'll do that in the spring, I believe.
All right, fair enough. Councilor McLean, is that? Yep. Great answer at this stage. Perfect, thank you. All right, any other questions, comments? Mr. Roy?
No comment.
All right, nothing else? All right. All right, with that, someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council approves the 2024 proposed operating budget as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
The second one, too.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. Opposed? All right, sorry. Carried is right. Thank you. All right, item, motion required number 2. Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That council endorses the 2025 to 2027 three-year rolling budget as presented.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. All right, on to item 7.3. Thank you, Mr. Earl. Public auction reserve bid and conditions of sale. Mr. Tebow?
I don't see Donna here, so I guess it's going to be John again.
All right, Mr. Orwa.
Okay, thank you very much, Council. Again, before you, we have the public auction bid and condition of sale. Now, this year, I think we only have 2. And for the information to Council, these ones, we normally bring them in because once you go into arrears, it has to be sent to municipal affairs. But before I walked in here, I got some good news coming out of those properties. But still, we still need to set those conditions just in case they are off track. But at least, again, one thing I need to mention here is some of these properties, when you see them coming for auction, some of them could be under mortgage and the bank has interest. So we might end even getting something from the bank, like especially the first one. And then the other one, when I look at it, already getting some good news. A call came, can we talk? So when they say, can we talk? Yes, we can talk, because if you look at the recovery booklet, we are allowed to talk. And again, we are allowed to make arrangements for at least 3 years for them to work. That's why you've been seeing there's very few auctions that have come in the last 16 years. So the administration is just requesting, those conditions to be set in motion just in case it goes offside.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council approves the following conditions pertaining to the February 26, 2024 public auction tax recovery sale of property tax accounts 4353150 and 4550170.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, you want me to read the full thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I guess.
Sorry, that's my
Yeah, that's right. All right. I should have suggested also. Sorry. Thank you, Carrie. Actually, that would have to be done, yes. if you're-
Yes, I will rescind my previous motion.
All right, thank you. That's right, actually, so, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. All right, Councilor McLean.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council approves the following conditions pertaining to the February 26, 2024 public auction tax recovery sale of property tax accounts 4353150 and 4550170, thank you. Number 1, attached values for each roll number to be set as the reserve bid, these being the values as provided by benchmark assessments for the 2023 tax year. And number 2, terms of the sale are 10% cash deposit, balance within 45 working days.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, on to item 7.4, letter of support, Alberta Children's Space Creation. Mr. Tebow.
We'll have Amy Allred come forward and discuss the letter in front of you.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We have received a request for a signed letter of support for Alphabet Daycare. As we have talked about before, there is a deficit of daycare spaces in Tabor at the moment. We have done some research. Alphabet Daycare has 3 locations in Red Deer and are opening other locations across southern Alberta. They are provincially registered and inspected and in good standing. It was hard to find too much information, but their Google reviews and Facebook reviews were all good. Are there any questions I can answer?
All right, Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I've read their letter, and the letter was written for us by them.
Yes.
And I have a concern with that, Mr. Mayor. Especially what you just mentioned. We have approached Nishan Sandu, which we didn't, because they approached us, because of their continuous success and good standing in the childcare industry. How do I know that? And I know you said that you checked something, but
Yes, of course.
I'm rather loath to sign a letter like this, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. Actually, I would agree 100%. Councillor Beckering, Mr. Tebow?
You'll note that the letter was put in as an example letter because they wrote it to us. The idea of actually writing a support letter, we could draft something entirely different, which would be administration's preference as well. That's why we put in this is an example letter because we couldn't verify some of those things. So if we wanted, administration can craft an alternative letter that speaks a little better to instead of personal names and things like that. The idea of this is though that they do need a support letter to go to, I forget what it is, Alberta Child something or other.
That's
Daycare
correct.
creation spaces.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Firth?
I think my question may have been partially answered, but this is a requirement of their licensing?
For their provincial grant, I believed, and to actually get the spaces open in Tabor.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So my question would be, is this common practice to write letters of support for a business applying for licenses, or?
I think in this particular case, without a letter of support, they don't get their approvals through the province. So
Okay,
that's
that was
why.
kind of my follow-up to that. There's a definite need for it. So if it's business in good saying, I don't have a problem with us penning our own letter, not theirs.
No, that's accurate. Councillor Brown, yeah, but we do a fair share of letter of supports and grants, et cetera, different varieties. So, yeah, but I think that's the general consensus and the concern is all the format, just back to our letter versus theirs, if you will. All right, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council authorize administration and the mayor to create and sign a letter of support for the Alphabet Daycare.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Councillor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it possible for council to see the draft letter before it goes out?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. All right. On to item 7.5, Mr. Tebow's favorite information for council.
Standing items is Mr. Tebow's favorite.
Well, I thought this was right up there, actually.
Well, it does rank as well. We'll
right.
get Mr. Martin to come up and speak to item number 1. And then item number 2 is the capital report, and council can feel free to ask any questions that they see fit around the capital report. Brian.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor and Council. On the two dates that are noted on here, September 6th and November 27th, administration met with our Ball Diamond user groups just to come up with a service level agreement or a memo of understanding for Ball Diamond maintenance. The first meeting went well. They understood where I was headed. I was trying to come up with an agreement where everyone could have a say on the Ball Diamond maintenance. They created a SharePoint where they could have maintenance issues noted and forwarded to us as one group instead of individuals sending the information. So that went really well. The last meeting we had, they decided that they wanted to pull out of the agreement and leave all the maintenance up to the town. So just as a note that we tried to create a service level with them and it was rejected. So we'll continue on having communication with the groups as we had in the past, and we'll still try and create better Ball Diamonds anyway.
All right. Thank you. Any questions arising? All right. See none. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anything further, information from council? Mr. Tebow?
Just the capital project listing, if anyone had any questions around that.
All right. Seeing none, okay. Okay, sorry, okay. Moving along. We're all good? We're all good? All right, Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The two projects that were completed like significantly under budget, I noticed, are those just, I know, just the funds just go back in for the next year, correct?
Yeah, the funds get rolled back into the capital reserves.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions arising? All right, seeing none, moving on to item 7.6, department reports. I will start those off accordingly. Any questions, please advise me accordingly. HR department report. Recreation department report. CAO report. Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a question for Mr. Tebow about your regional CAO meeting that you had with Lethbridge County, the MD of Tabor and Coaldale, and if anything was, I don't know, significant that was brought to your attention that maybe we could be aware of?
So this is only the second meeting of its kind, and we thought we'd try and get together as regional groups and share our pains together. But also talk about, some of the things that are going on in the region, since we're part of the agri-food corridor. So there was no real significant anythings. We're waiting back on the water and wastewater study results and different things like that. So part of our conversations were actually around how many people are employed at different places, what their net tax ratio to salary was. So trying to get a handle on what's going on in the rest of the region and how far off we might be from sort of the general area. So that's really it.
All right, thank you. All right, on to finance department report. Economic development report. Engineering and public works report. Treatment facilities report. Facilities management report. Fire department report. And administrative service report. All right, no further questions, no motion required. Moving on to mayor and council reports. Councilor Firth, would you start us off, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings I was required to, except for the chamber meeting. I missed that this month. I also attended the Kiwanis Carol Festival last week, which was very well done, as it always is. It's nice that so many different organizations and churches come together in our community to celebrate this season, and it just gives everybody such a nice feeling, I think. So thanks to the Kiwanis for putting that on and to all of the groups that made it happen. And I'd just like to wish everyone a safe and joyful holiday season, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended the Kiwanis Carol Festival last week. I was disappointed the mayor couldn't blow his trumpet, but it was very well done, correct. Our last FCSS meeting I attended was just a couple of weeks ago. Our board decided not to increase the municipal request for next year. It's not a requisition because it's a request, but we're not going to increase it. So I had a little bit of good news from Mr. Orva, because usually it's about a 2-3%. It usually translates to about $8,000 to $9,000 a year increase, but it's not going to happen this year. So that was good news. We have the capacity to provide our services without an increase, we feel. So that's good news. And also an echo Councilor Firth. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you, Councilor Beckering. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too attended almost all of my meetings. I couldn't because of canceled babysitting for one, but I also, I actually participated in the Kiwanis Carol Festival and also the Santa Parade, which was fantastically done by our fire department. It was lovely and it was really a great event for all the kids to attend. So it was a fun thing, and I would like to also echo everyone's message and have a happy Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilor Rumford, please.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all my meetings. I went to the Chinook Arch, one with the library. I learned lots. I'm going to attend the library board of Tabor's board meeting to kind of get some more information. I attended the museum, the irrigation museum one. They sold calendars, but it all sold out, and they were pictures of downtown. They were really nice. I wish they would have had more. They would have sold a lot more. I am attending the soft opening of the new Cattleman Steakhouse on December 20th. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully the community supports new business, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right, thank you, Councillor Rumford. Councillor Broom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Attended the meetings I was able to this month. The Highway 3, I'm excited to announce, they announced the construction beginning on the highway this spring. If you drive down the road towards Bow Island, you can see lots of activity with flags being put out for things to be moved. I attended this Tango Star event at the Eggplex this previous week. It's very well done. The Eggplex looked fantastic, and the way they did the dirt floor, it made it so compacted. It was like walking on cement. It was a very well done event there, and that'd be about it for me.
All right, thank you. And for myself, always a variety of meetings to deal with, document, check signings, requirements, etc. 2 different media interviews. I also attended the Parallel Church My City Care opening of the Shop of Wonders, which has gone very well and continue to do well. Some 400 kids have been helped already this year that will have Christmas that would not have had a Christmas. So kudos to Shop of Wonders for taking care of that particular need within our community. I also attended the Boxing Tango Star fundraiser event. It's roughly 700 people, I believe, in attendance. Sound about right? And definitely very well put on. And I didn't hear the exact figure, but I believe they did fairly well, as I recall there. So kudos to them for that success story in that regard. New business visits, myself along with our economic development officer or manager, Amy, Chamber of Commerce Rep Ann, Community Futures Representative Alvaro, attended for the last visits for the year, and we still have several to go. Don't always catch everybody, so we'll take care of the rest of that for 2023 and 2024. I also attended the Parkside Manor Seniors Christmas Dinner. About 100 people attended that event. It was a lot of fun and very well done as well. Also dealt with Mr. Tebow, Megan, and Grace on the Town of Tabor Christmas Cheer Run, annual Christmas Cheer Run. That was a lot of fun and well received by all in place. And again, kudos to our staff for another great year as well. And always happy to do that and support that where we can. Also attended the, here we go. I did a live media draw with Ann from the Chamber of Commerce, promoting the shop local as well, and just last week as well. Also attended the AEIP community engagement session with luncheon involved there and a lot of great idea exchanges, and they're doing very well. I believe it's up to 150 some odd, Mr. Stevens, that's all right, that they've now placed within that program, and kudos to Shannon and Ryland and all involved with that particular project, a year or so in the making, and all the communities that are on board with our assist program in that regard. It's going over very well, and it's only going to get better. I did also attend the Kiwanis Christmas concert. Again, I don't know, 500 or so. Sound about right? Very well attended for sure. And I was also disappointed not being able to play the trumpet this year, and hopefully it works out for next year. That would be the plan at this stage. Also, I had the pleasure of attending the Jamari in Calgary with Mr. John Orwa, along with Chief of Bell and his lovely wife, Angeline, and had a great time there. Met Mayor Gondek, Calgary Mayor, as well as the president, past president, and a variety of individuals attached to the KCA Kenyan Calgary Association. That's our second year in a row, right, Mr. Orwa? Very well received there, and they put on a great celebration. It was their 60th year celebration, so that was a major event for them, and happy to be part of that, as well as enhancing our Kenyan twinning collaborative initiative. That would be my report, unless there's any questions attached to that. All right, no motion required. Moving on to standing item, the actual favorite for Mr. Tebow.
Okay. Make this a little bigger. Resolution 294. So the traffic committee just met on Friday. So I would suspect that on our January the 8th meeting, we'll have the results back for the fines that we were to look into, as well as the questions that came forward by Councillor McLean around some of the perceived oddities in the bylaw. So I have all those answers, and the schedule of fines are being looked into right now, so hopefully January the 8th. 346, believe this is still in progress. I don't know it'll be available for January the 8th, but it's being worked on. Completed 347, completed 348. Those are the parts that I like when they say completed. 363. This will be coming forward also on January the 8th. This is the sidewalk connecting on 60th in front of Tabor Christian School. 364. This will be coming forward on January the 8th as well. We can knock some more things off this list. 365. I gotta grab. Councillor Bruin asking about the traffic committee and making recommendations. There'll be, again, at the traffic committee, we discussed what had transpired that brought rise to this particular motion. And January the 8th, we'll have sort of a comprehensive review of what went down for that one. And then one more. Yeah, so we will, we have this on the agenda tonight in closed session to build an agenda for January. And then we'll have discussions around what it is, how we'd like to handle it, all that kind of stuff. I did get some additional information that I can share this evening. That's all I've got, so
All
back
right,
over to
thank you.
council.
Thank you. Any new standing item council requests? All right. Excuse me.
I'm kidding. Oh my gosh.
Excuse me. All right. Seeing none, no motions required. I would ask for a motion to move into our meal break and our delegation arrival at 5 p.m., please. Councilor Beckering.
Thank you. Also move, Mr. Mayor.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, if we could reconvene the meeting, please. And moving on to our delegations, item 8.1, delegation veteran banner donation. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Mayor, there's a envelope that's been left with you, and I believe we have Abe here. Come on up to the front, sir. Judy, yeah, Judy can come as well.
$21,000. Woo! Wow. Roll tape back.
What if we don't pass the motion? What if hey, I'm gonna vote against.
I'm gonna vote against.
I want to hear this.
All right, thank you once again, folks. If we just, Councillor Beckering,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
prepare to make that motion.
You bet, Mr. Mayor. That council congratulates the Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 20 on another successful veteran banner project season and awards a donation in the amount of $2,170.35.
All right. Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And for our second delegation, item 8.2, delegation from Nehemiah Hoekstra. Mr. Tebow.
So I'm glad you said the name, Nehemiah, if you could come up and present to council.
Nehemiah, welcome. If you just want to push that red button in front of you. The center button, sorry, it should light up red. There you go. Perfect, thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Nehemiah Hoekstra, and I have been selected to a travel basketball team that will go to Europe and play other teams in the summer of 2024. I will be the only Canadian on this team, and I'm excited to play the sport I love, coming from a place that has taught me hard work and to love the sport. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about an opportunity I have to represent my community playing basketball in Europe. I'm hoping to use this great opportunity for personal growth. I'm excited to be an ambassador for Canada, Alberta, and the town of Taber. I'm looking forward to further developing my leadership skills on and off the court and to grow my willingness to work with new people. My parents have always taught me the importance to use every opportunity to serve others and be a positive example. Southern Alberta has been a great place to live, and the town of Taber represents so many great things. My favorite part of this trip will be representing this great place. When I play basketball in the big cities, I want to leave at the end of the game knowing that the people have a different impression of the abilities of kids in our area. It makes me proud to represent Taber on the global stage. 12 years ago, we moved here from Ontario because we knew that there would be more opportunities as a family for recreation and sports. Alberta is such a great place to live. It will also be an opportunity for me to explore the world and see new places. I will be able to play against some of the best girls my age. Basketball gives me an opportunity to serve others as well. As this January, I am putting on a basketball camp for kids to help develop their skills. I hope to continue doing this camp for future years so I can give back to the community that supports me. The organization that I'm representing is called NBC, which has basketball camps all over the world. I attended their camps in Olds and was an all-star twice and won the best offensive female player. I want to use my basketball skills to work hard and motivate others to do the same. I love setting a precedent for young girls, and it would be great if town was known for developing young female athletes. Thank you for allowing me to present to you, and thank you for serving the people of Taber.
Well, thank you so much, Nehemiah, for your presentation. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Nehemiah. Good presentation. I have 3 questions for you, sir. Got a pen?
I do got a pen.
Okay. I got three questions for you. Number one, how were you selected? Were you selected based on talent or a draw of a name? Or number two, what does NBC stand for? Number three, how are you going to represent Tabor? Are you going to wear a Tabor jersey on your when you play? Are you going to wear Tabor on your uniform? Please answer.
Okay, so
Number one,
number one.
how were you selected?
Oh, okay, sorry. I was selected, so I went to the basketball camp in the summer and I showed them my interest. And it was based off skill. So recently I got an email that accepted me. And then number two. Oh, NBC stands for Nothing Beats Commitment. And then the third one, I would, during some of the games, there's at halftime, each player will share a story about where they're from and everything, and I'm looking forward to like explaining how Tabor has helped me to get there. And then also, my dad is planning to get a shirt for me that has everyone who supported me, and then I take pictures of the places that I go sightseeing at.
There you go. Thank you. You got a fourth question answered there. That's great. No, absolutely.
I'll let your dad do it. Let your mom do it.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions arising? Nehemiah, if I can ask you, I know, I believe I saw that you required a minimum of $12,000 to take care of this particular trip that you're responsible for. Is that correct?
Can you repeat that question for me?
So I think I saw in your package that you're required to raise $12,000 for your commitment to go over and participate. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I think I saw the last update was you've raised $4,000. Is that accurate or is that changed?
It's changed a little bit. I've now gotten around like 4,500 around there.
Oh, okay, great. And you've got until, is it June or July?
July.
July, okay. So 6 months to go roughly. All right, perfect. Thank you. And you're going to be representing Tabor, the sole Canadian besides. So how great is that? I'm just wondering. I mean, that's to me that's phenomenal. That you're at that level at your young age, and good for you. You know, and I wish you all the best in your. I see your passion. I see your passion. I do. And the first time I talked to you, I could see that, and it's definitely evident today. So congratulations on that note as well.
Thank you.
But again, I guess I'm just not quite sure or quite clear on how the rest are picked as a result. Like, where they come from all over the world, or just
Yeah, all over the
okay?
world.
Yep. All right, that's impressive. Thank you, Councilor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fantastic presentation. You did it very well. May I ask how old you are?
I'm 14 years old.
14. You did a great job for a 14-year-old. And it's obvious your commitment to the sport. And how many teams are playing in the tournament?
I actually do not know that, but I will be traveling all over the UK.
Oh, it's all over?
Yeah, so I'll be visiting like multiple places.
That's a really exciting trip. So what would you like to get out of this meeting?
Well,
Maximum amount.
well, sponsorship would be great, but if you can do money-wise, encouragement is always greatly appreciated too.
Well, that's a great answer. Great answer. Yeah, you can
Very
say
good answer.
political aspirations down the road. Good for you. All right, now just saying that, just to confirm, Mr. Thibault, what's exactly left in the council discretionary fund? Oh, sorry, I'm not looking at it. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So that's $7,574.92.
All right, thank you. No, it's not. No, I know there's something more left, but so yes, Councilor Bruin.
I would like to make a motion that council could approve, or council approve, sorry. Council approve the financial request from Nehemiah Hoekstra in the amount of $1,000 to assist with expenses in playing basketball in Europe from the 2023 council discretionary fund.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. not speaking for or against the motion. I would just want to make a comment to you that it's rather unusual that we pick an individual that we support financially, and especially in the amount as the motion says. And I think it's very worthwhile what you're doing, but it is unusual. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Bruin?
I've learned in the sales business that you start high, and then you dicker down after that. My motion stands.
All right, very well. We have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Nehemiah. And Nehemiah, you're going to make a great Town of Tabor representative over in Europe and a great Canadian representative. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing some of the many photos and highlights of your trip. So congratulations once again. Thank you so much.
Can we suggest town pins or something?
Sure, yeah, we do have the bling options for sure, if that would help you, Nehemiah. Would that? No, I was just going to say, we do that on, because that's not uncommon at all. That's simply an ask. But I believe our administration is usually very good at doing that, Carrie. And Brittany likely, I think, would be tasked with that. And Carrie, maybe you can comment on that.
Yes, Nehemiah, you can contact me directly, and then I can set you up with what we have. I'll show you what we've got to offer you to take with you.
All right, there you go. Perfect. Thank you once again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you have any other questions? Yeah, sure, yeah, sorry.
No one tells you nothing.
Yeah, right. All right. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Is that right? All right, where are we at here? All right. Mr. Thibault, media inquiries, any media inquiries whatsoever?
None that I've been made aware of, no.
All right, very well. Just ask for a motion to move into closed session then, please. Councillor McLean,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we move into closed session.
motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you.